Hey, fellow YouTubers, Corey here. So there's some stuff I wanted to go over here that the opportunity presented itself, so I figured, hey, might as well. So before I begin, this video is going to be a little all over the place. It will, but it won't. You'll see where I'm coming from after I make a few points here. So obviously, you see what the screen says. Intelligence is the ability to adapt, and that's also according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Artificial intelligence. So when you're looking at artificial intelligence, I want you to ponder something for a minute. So if intelligence is the ability to adapt, and when an individual is on a screen, I don't care what that screen is, when an individual has either a phone, a computer, a video game system, a television sitting in front of them, when an individual is on a screen, 9 out of 10 times, an individual uses said screen for entertainment purposes. Coming from a perspective that I've looked into to see where their perspective is on technology and related subjects of technology, the reason why you don't see the Mennonite and the Amish communities at all participating in much technology at all, when when you go by an Amish buggy down the side of the road and you're speeding past them, just as much as you're smiling at them, they're smiling at everybody that's zoomed on past them, right? Well, what it is that they know, and they understand that technology, we use it and simply take it for granted that we even have the ability to have that technology in our hands. So in speaking to that, if you're looking at artificial intelligence, artificial adaptation, right? So now that makes me have to ask, well, what is the difference between natural adaptation or artificial adaptation? Is there a difference? Something that I've been wanting to bring up: Isaac Asimov's The Three Laws of Robotics. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. I think that there are individuals that have become robotic in nature and like to follow orders, and not think for themselves. And so the opportunity that had presented itself, and the reason I am making this video is this. This here is the summary from the Secretary of State of all the fees that were collected from the Michigan Secretary of State in regards to license plates and permits, tag renewals. Ooh, let me go back. I'm going to go over these with you first. And I think that might be it. Oh, wait, no. Oh, look at that. That one's blank. All right, well, let's go to this. Other transactions. Oh, there isn't a total down here. So, as you can see, there was a lot of money made apparently by our state. And this is what it leads me to. I'd like to give credence to everybody that's been ripped out of a car for not wanting to show their papers. Papers, please. Anyone that's been pulled out of their car, slammed onto the pavement, been labeled a sovereign citizen, been labeled this or been labeled that, I'd like to give every single one of them individuals credence, and tell everyone that has taken the side of popularity and brownie points on getting people to follow along and trying to make fun of people that are simply standing up for their individual rights and individual freedoms and not group think, group safety, and group security. I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to let you figure it out on your own. But there is a rhyme and a reason why myself personally will never, ever, ever pay for a driver's license, a registration, or a permit ever. And as a matter of fact, as a state representative, I would be glad to introduce legislation to make it to where an individual, when they waltz into the Secretary of State, don't pay a dime over the counter. And here it is. And I very well may get in trouble for going ahead and playing this, but oh well, so be it.
And no matter what car you drive, it needs a license plate in order to drive it. So we want to take a moment to show you the incredible work that goes into making those plates. I took a trip to the Gus Harrison Correctional Facility in Adrian to check it out and see the inmates who make your plates.
The inmates who make our plates. That's so... I'm so happy to live in Michigan and having people do that.
We're currently making about 10,000 a day. And they're so happy, knowing that they get a chance to show off what they do here.
I like it. I mean, if it was a job that was outside of here, I would probably stay with it for a long time because it is very interesting and it keeps you very motivated to do things.
It starts with a coil of aluminum. Each coil is about 2,000 pounds. We get about 5 plates per pound. The stickers get applied to the aluminum. Each license plate is made one at a time. Those are called flapper dies. If you look, they got numbers and letters all over them. And a lot of these guys have never had the opportunity before they came to prison to show off the skills they actually have. I think a lot of these guys are very smart, very skilled. This is an inker machine, and you're going to feed it through to ink it black. The inmates definitely take pride in their work. You can tell the way the plates are made.
I am responsible for all of the personalized license plates. I remove them from the system, check each and every one. If they need to be remade, we remake them.
What has been some of your reaction in just seeing the types of personalized plates that people like to order?
Some wild stuff. There's some very interesting things put on license plates that you have to have a very, very inquisitive mind to actually read them and figure out what they are.
This is our packaging department. The plates, once they come out of the oven over there, are sent down
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pause that for a minute so I can make a point with something. So, the word pejorative. I'm not saying that those individuals that are working in that environment are happy with it. I'm not saying that they're not. Personally, I don't know. I will say, though, however, anyone that's walked into the Secretary of State has not walked in there with a smile on their face in agreement. As a matter of fact, they've pejoratively waltzed in and paid for such documentation. And I'll leave you with one thing. When we have to bring proofs, they'll hand you a list of all the proofs that you have to bring into the Secretary of State, correct? How many people, and this is, you know, an odd question, but how many people have ever seen anybody that's behind the counter? How many individuals have ever seen their personal address on their mail from their house, or ever seen their birth certificates? Oh wait, that's correct. Never. So again, I'd be happy to introduce legislation that allows it for individuals when they walk into our Secretary of State within this district not to have to pay a dime when they walk into the Secretary of State. Considering that somebody has been conversating about trying to, charge 45 cents a gallon at the gas pump, there are other ways of thinking about it. And I believe that it would be more than appropriate to allow such a thing to happen. So, yeah, that would be great if those inmates could keep their jobs. But it would also be nice if people could conveniently retain such items as easy as possible.